Hey everyone, in this video we are talking about one of the trigonometric ratios. In this video we're talking about sine. So there's two different types of sine. There's like sine of theta, and there's sine to the -1 of theta. So we'll talk about both of them in these videos, but first we'll talk about why I call it the sine ratio. So sine, if you remember our little rhyme, which is SOHCAHTOA, sine is defined as being the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse side. And what this means is, let's say you have a triangle like that, it has to have a right angle in it. For any theta, the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse side will just be some decimal number, depending on what theta is. If I made this triangle smaller, that opposite side divided by that hypotenuse would equal the exact same decimal. So the sine ratio just tells us that no matter how long the opposite or hypotenuse sides are, for every angle, let's say for 26 degrees, every triangle with 26 degrees, when you divide the opposite side by the hypotenuse, that decimal will be the same no matter what the lengths are. So I'll show you how to use it. And first, I think we'll do a question where I will give you I'll give you the angle and the length of a side, and we'll use it to figure out the other side. So your right angle, think of it as an arrowhead, and it points towards the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse will be this side right here. We're going to say that is 27 degrees. The opposite is the side right across from it. So let's say we're trying to find the opposite side, that's our unknown, but we know that the hypotenuse equals 10 centimeters. All we need to do is think about sine, there should be a theta in there, sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. In this case, theta is 27 degrees, and that equals opposite, we don't know, so I'll replace that with variable x for unknown. And our hypotenuse, I said, was 10 centimeters. So on my calculator, make sure your calculator is in a degree mode. So it should say DEG on it somewhere. That stands for degrees. So I'm just going to go 27 sine 27 on my calculator equals 0.45. Let's round that to 0.454. So that's equivalent to sine 27. That equals x over 10. The opposite of dividing by 10 would be multiplying by 10. So I'll multiply both sides by 10 so that those 10s will cancel out, and I'll get x equals 0.54 times 10 would just be 4.54 centimeters. Go back and look at your picture and say, does that seem reasonable? Does this side look like maybe it's about twice as long as that side? Yeah, it looks pretty close, so we can feel pretty confident that our answer is right. Let's do another example where we're going to have the hypotenuse as our unknown. So let's say that this is 11 degrees, our hypotenuse is unknown, our opposite, let's say that equals to 16 inches, and we're going to figure out the length of the hypotenuse. And so we'll go sine theta, in this case theta is 11 degrees, equals opposite is 16 inches, divided by hypotenuse is our unknown. You can leave it as h, or you can change it to any variable that you want. So you can think of this as cross multiplication. Sine of 11 degrees is going to be exactly the same as sine 11 degrees divided by 1. All you need to do is think about where your unknown is, so it's right there. multiply the two numbers on the diagonal, and that will be this one, 16 times 1, and then divide by what's left over and not your variable. So divide by sine of 11 degrees, and that will equal your variable x. 16 times 1 is 16, divided by, I'm just going to go sine 11, my calculator, and I get that's equal to 0.19. So I'll go 16 divided by 0.19, and I will get that is equal to 84.2 degrees. The third sort of type of situation you'll get is when they don't tell you what the degree measurement is in the triangle. They'll give you maybe the length of all three of the sides, and it's up to you to figure out which one's the hypotenuse, which one's the opposite, and then use sine to the power of -1, which is up there. So let's say you were given a triangle that looks like this. The 90-degree angle was given to you. Think of it as an arrowhead pointing at the hypotenuse would be this side. Let's say I was asking you what that angle is, and I gave you the length of this side was 6, the length of this side was 8, and the length of the hypotenuse would be 10. Okay, so then I would first start by writing down the formula. So it will be sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse, just like before. Sine theta is our unknown. Opposite side from the angle will be 8, and the hypotenuse will be 10. Notice that if I was finding this angle, the opposite side would be 6. It depends, the opposite and adjacent sides, it depends what angle you're talking about. So I'm talking about this angle, the opposite side is 8. Sine of theta is what I'm trying to solve for. Sorry, not sine of theta. We know sine of theta equals 8 over 10, which is 0.8. It's theta that I'm trying to solve for. So I need to separate it from the sine. You can think of sine to the -1 as being equal to 1 over sine. So if I divide both sides by 1 over sine, I meant multiply 1 over sine, we've got this is equal to sine over 1. Those will cancel out, and I'll get theta equals 0.8 times 1 over sine. 1 over sine is equivalent to sine to the -1, and then just put your 0.8 in brackets after it. On my calculator, I will go second function sine, and I'll get my -1 up there, and then times 0.8, and I got error, that's nice. Second function sine 0.8 equals, I get 53.1, so let's say that equals to 53 degrees.